I'm going to wrap this thing up with, honestly, it might be the easiest prediction of the show, but it's the one that I'm the most excited to talk about because it involves my pet cat for the 23 season. And I use the word cat pretty literally. Let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's talk about the prince who was promised, Trevor Lawrence, and the reigning division champions who overcame a 20-point deficit in the playoffs last year, who gave the Chiefs a run for their money. This is one of the hottest teams in the league from a momentum perspective. I mean, think of how sad things looked in Jacksonville less than 2 years ago. And now they're primed to win the division. And the reason I'm so excited for them, they're a good team in a bad division. And what does that mean? It's an opportunity for Trevor Lawrence to make some serious hay. They get to play 6 games against some squads that look like they might be in for a rough season. And oh, by the way, they also get the lowly NFC South on the other side of the league. There's an opportunity for the Jags to win 12 games minimum if they handle their business. Am I too bullish on them? I don't think so. Trevor Lawrence came into the league as one of the most hyped quarterbacks in recent memory since Andrew Luck. Second half of last season, he was playing like it. What did the Jags do to bolster that? Last year, they made one of the smartest moves of the season. They traded for Calvin Ridley, who was suspended for gambling. Second team All-Pro Calvin Ridley. 1,300 yards Calvin Ridley. He's back. He's fully healthy. He looks like a beast. You add that to Christian Kirk, Zay Jones. They get Evan Ingram signed. I'm loving what I'm seeing. I know people are worried about the Jags offensive line. I'm not buying it. They spend a first-round pick on Anton Harrison out of Oklahoma. He looks like the real deal. He's going to help them weather Cam Robinson's suspension over the first 4 games of the year. Travis Etienne's in the backfield. They draft Tank Bigsby. What a name for a power back, by the way. Tank Bigsby to help you out in short yardage and goal line situations. This offense is loaded. Notice I haven't said anything about the defense. It's not as much fun, but what I like about the Jags defense is that it's littered with incredibly talented players. Travon Walker was the number 1 overall pick in the draft in 2022. He wasn't amazing as a rookie, but if you're going to bank on somebody ascending in year 2, yeah, give me the number 1 overall pick. Same thing goes for Devin Lloyd, their other first round pick. Tyson Campbell is an underrated player at cornerback. I'm not trying to tell you that this is an elite defense, but I certainly think it's talented enough to hold up its end of the bargain with what could be one of the best offenses in the NFL. Like, y'all always do this when it's a team I want to talk about the most, and that's the Jags. I'm picking the Jags to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. I'm spoiling my pick, and I don't care. I feel very strongly that this team's going to win a lot of games. All right. Fine, we can move on. We'll get back to the Jags when we're done with these other 3. Moving on to the Tennessee Titans, I can imagine a staffer in Nashville clipping this out and showing it to Mike Vrabel, because I'm not giving the Titans head coach enough credit for how regularly he has this team ready to compete. It feels like the Titans roster never lives up to what the record actually winds up being. And I do think that's a testament to Mike Vrabel. But I just wonder, in an AFC with this many good teams, how competitive are the Titans actually? Let's get it out of the way. The defense is going to be good. Again, Mike Vrabel eats glass for breakfast, and he coaches the hell out of a defense. Jeffrey Simmons is there. Kevin Byard is there. Like, there are talented players on that side of the ball. And if I had to guess, the Titans are going to be a massive pain to play against. But flip over to the other side of the ball and tell me what the ceiling is for this team and how regularly you can expect them to outscore some of their opposition in the AFC. Yes, again, there are some familiar faces on hand. Ryan Tannehill is still there, although it certainly seems like the Titans are desperate for that not to be the case anymore. Back-to-back years where they've drafted quarterbacks. Malik Willis and Will Levis are on hand. Derrick Henry's still there, but as we're seeing play out in the news, running backs tend to age out of the NFL rather quickly, and teams are less willing to pay them than they used to be. They've signed DeAndre Hopkins, which sounds amazing in a vacuum, But when you look at the rest of the Titans receiver core, when you look at the state of the quarterback play, and oh, by the way, I'm burying the lead, the offensive line looks like a wreck. And I don't think even drafting Peter Skoronski in the first round is enough to offset that. I just don't see the vision. I see a team that's regularly going to be a pain in the butt to play, that ultimately isn't going to win more than 6 to 8 games. And I just don't think that's enough. I'm sorry, Titans, and I can't wait for Mike Vrabel to prove me wrong. Now we talk about a team with a lot of aging veterans. Let's move on to two teams that have none. The youth movement is on in the AFC South, and it starts with the Indianapolis Colts and Anthony Richardson. My problem with the Colts is that the vibes should be good when you have a top 5 pick starting at quarterback. We're going to get to that in Houston. But what's going on in Indianapolis? You draft a quarterback in the top 5. You know the roster's not that great. That's how you wound up in the top 5 in the first place. Please look around the Colts roster and tell me what gets you excited. Quentin Nelson, a wonderful guard, but certainly hasn't played like his reputation suggests the last couple years. Shaq Leonard is a phenomenal linebacker when he's healthy, which has been less and less often in recent years. Oh, right. The Colts' best player is Jonathan Taylor, the star running back who is now on the physically unable to perform list for the first month of the season because the Colts don't want to pay him a new contract, but they also are asking for a king's ransom in a trade. Can you help me wonder, don't you think a star running back would help a rookie quarterback with very little experience get out to a good start in the NFL? It seems as obvious as day to me. Apparently not to anyone in Indianapolis. I am excited to watch Anthony Richardson. I think he could help you win your fantasy league this year. He's going to rush for a bunch of yards. He's got a cannon for an arm. But the Colts were already up against it. And now they don't have JT for at least the first month of the season. He might not play for him at all this year, depending on what happens on the trade front. I just don't really understand what's going on. And I think it sucks for Anthony Richardson that there are weird vibes in Indy at a time that should be a lot more exciting. And let's transition from them to a team that seems to be handling it the right way, which I understand the irony of saying that about the Houston Texans. It's certainly been dysfunctional down there for a number of years. But they seem to be turning a new leaf with DeMeco Ryans in charge as their first-year head coach. I envy the Texans right now, not because of how many games they're going to win, but it's a blank slate. There shouldn't be much in the way of expectation, and it just sounds like it's going to be fun. You have C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson, the edge rusher that you paid a ransom for to get in the top 5 of the draft. As long as these guys play well, the Texans are playing with house money. They could win 2 games, they could win 8 games, and it would be the same. All you're worried about is the development of these young players. And I promise you, if CJ Stroud and Will Anderson look like the real deal, people in Houston are going to be exciting. And as we've seen with teams like the Jags and Trevor Lawrence, rookie years can pave the way for big things in the time to come. So Houston, enjoy it. I don't know how many games you're going to win, but that shouldn't be the focus right now. The focus should be this was an incredibly bad organization, and now we're seeing a ray of light, and hopefully we're seeing 2 cornerstone players that are going to lead you to better times in the future. Not the present, though. In the present, the Jacksonville Jags should own this division, and I'm picking them to run away with it as the number 1 overall seed. So if Jacksonville is winning the AFC South, that wraps up my divisions. I got Jags, Chiefs, the Miami Dolphins, and the Cincinnati Bengals. And you know what? With all due respect to the Chiefs, I'm going to think outside the box. I'm going to roll with a take that is sure to age like milk, and I do not care. Give me the Miami Dolphins to advance to Super Bowl 58. I don't know how. Somebody's got to come out of this conference. It's absolutely loaded. And why not the most fun offense in the AFC? Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Tua. Just give me 17 games, my guy. The defense is loaded. You got an OG coordinator there calling it. There's nothing in the way except health and, about 15 other absolutely loaded teams. I can't wait to see how it all plays out.